The Prime Minister, who insisted that all was well between Mr. Warner and herself since the Cabinet Reshuffle, once again responded to the call for him to step down.
I have no evidence. I said before I will not prejudge this matter. There have been reports and allegations, but I have no evidence of wrongdoing. And I will not therefore act without such evidence. If that I said before, and I repeat, should such evidence come forward, until and unless there is such evidence, I will not prejudge this matter.
Basdeo Pandey, former Prime Minister and leader of the United National Congress, was very critical of Mrs. Prasad-Basasa's leadership skills.
I don't think the problem is really with the ministers at all, but I think rather the problem is with the Prime Minister. That is, the Prime Minister must lead. The Prime Minister must inspire. The Prime Minister must have a plan. The Prime Minister must have discipline in the Cabinet. And none of that exists. So it doesn't matter whether there is a Cabinet reshuffle or not. I don't think there will be improvement in the level of non-performance.
But how does the Prime Minister feel about Mr. Pandey's remarks?
He's entitled to his view. It doesn't worry me in the least. I think we're doing very well, and
all right.
What more do you expect? And listen, I do believe the partnership has held. I've said it before. This has been a testing time for all of us, but we've stayed strong.
Meanwhile, COP leader Winston Dukran admits that he is disappointed over the Prime Minister's reassignment of Caroline C. Prasad-Bachchan from the energy portfolio to that of public administration.
I am disappointed that Caroline has not been allowed to carry on. But I think in the game of politics, you have to take on whatever responsibility comes in your hands.
Okay, and yet you are still willing to work with this, the People's Partnership?
Of course. We are members of the partnership. In fact, I will say we are key pillars upon which the partnership has been based.
Minister Warner and even San Fernando East MP Patrick Manning slipped out following the ceremonial opening before members of the media could interview them. Christy Ramnarain, TV6 News.
The Tobago House of Assembly's Chief Secretary over London wishes all newly appointed ministers of government the best in their various ministries. Mr. London says he hopes with the new appointments there will be a marked improvement in the relationship between the Assembly and the central government.
Chief Secretary Oval London, reflecting on the relationship between the previous Minister of Health, Therese Baptiste Cornelis, and the THA, said although it was a rocky start, things became smooth later on. He said, quote, as an administration, the THA is willing to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Even with the new Minister of Health, Dr. Fuad Khan, it is the Prime Minister's prerogative to place any minister where she sees fit, end of quote. Mr. London said he is open to full discussion with all ministers of government on all issues. Asked whether he was surprised by the appointment of Dr. Dalman Baker from the Ministry of Tourism to the Ministry of Finance, the Chief Secretary said he does not allow things to surprise him. He continued, quote, I wish to, however, congratulate all ministers on their appointments and elevated positions. The critical point, however, is the partnership between the Tobago House of Assembly and the central government, end of quote. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Basasa has said the changes in her cabinet is geared towards improved delivery. Finance Secretary Dr. Anselm London had a different view on the reshuffle of government ministers. Dr. London told the TV6 News this is the Prime Minister's new team, her deck of cards, and she has had to manage it the best way she has. But so far, the Prime Minister has not delivered. He said, quote, this is another round. Let's see what happens. I am waiting to see the policy direction of the government because for the time being, the government has just been waffling. The major challenge I see the government has is in economics and economic policy. There is no policy direction for this country, and I do not think by shuffling people around you address that matter. I will wait with bated breath on matters especially relating to Tobago, end quote. Commenting specifically on Dr. Baker's appointment, the Finance Secretary said it is not about the knowledge of finance, but about management. And if Dr. Baker brings the management skills, he thinks he shall do well. He called Dr. Baker's appointment an interesting one, adding he is very willing to speak with him to exchange views for the betterment of Tobago. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.